welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And I'm sure who's going to have a handful today with an all-dog show is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder, who serves as our animal wrangler. Our first guest today is one of our younger dogs. We have about 3 dogs right now on the adoption floor who are all in that 6-month-old age range. And this is Finley, and he is one of our German Shepherd mixes. He is one of 2 in the litter. And so for the most part, these guys are housed together when they're here. His brother is, however, in part of our foster program. So fosters and foster. So he's only here when his foster mom is working. But these guys are very, very dog friendly. We have them in play groups with other dogs of their age in the facility. They play with each other. So they do really well with other dogs. So if you're looking to add another dog into your household, then these guys might be a good fit. Of the 2 that are in the same litter, Finley is actually the more confident out of the 2 with most people. Some people he's a little bit shyer with, but he definitely seems to be the more confident of the 2 brothers. Both, very friendly, very playful, learning basics. So they, treat them like they're 8-week-old puppies who need to learn good manners and sit and things like that. But the most important thing about these guys is that they have what our vet is referring to as a genetic anomaly. So if you're looking at their front feet, the ligaments in their front feet on both of their legs are too loose. So their feet have that more, they just look like they have really big feet, but it's because their joint is luxating in a different way. So these guys are doing physical therapy daily here in our facility. And that's something that their owner will need to continue to kind of build up those legs to make sure that they're going to be, stable lifelong. It doesn't seem to affect them right now. They're happy, they play, they do all of those things. But it is something that they're going to need to work on, especially if you're looking to get them into doing more running and more, exuberant play and things like that. You want to make sure that, you're doing the right medical for them. It might be a little bit more costly, in terms of vet care. It is recommended by our vet that these guys see a veterinary rehabilitation specialist. So keeping all of that in mind if you meet them.
So a lot of potential adopters want to know if a dog's house trained or not. So how do we feel about Finley's house training?
So Finley and Foster both would not be considered house trained. Some of our dogs are even better about, going to the opposite ends of their kennel and not kind of going to the bathroom where their beds are and stuff like that. These guys, not so much, although to be fair, they are housed in a single run right now, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. But we would definitely say that these are young guys that you're going to have to start from ground zero. With house training, although we never say that any of our dogs are house trained because it is really hard to get them on a consistent schedule here in this type of an environment. So you want to make sure that you're prepared not only to do the basic house training and good manners training, but also with these guys working on the rehab for their legs. But if you think that you're up to that challenge and you want to make adorable little Finley here part of your family, the first step is going to be going to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment. You want to make sure that when you get here, you read their medicals closely. Our next guest is a little bit bigger, a little more confident, a little bit more active. This is Lightning, and he is 2 years old, and he is an American Bulldog mix that was surrendered to us, unfortunately, by his owners because there were several people in the home that had developed some medical conditions that really just didn't allow them to care for him anymore. And they wanted to do what was best for Lightning and make sure that he had a family that could give him everything that he needed. So they brought him here to us. Now, some of you might say, why is this dog listed as an American Bulldog mix? I see dogs on your Facebook page all the time that look exactly like this, and they say Terrier mix. Well, part of that is because the owner told us he was an American Bulldog mix, and we often defer to the breed that the owner tells us is their dog because that's usually what they've been told by, the people who have given them given the dog to them. So that's what he is listed as. And fortunately for him, his owners provided a lot of really detailed information about him that's going to let us know how he's going to do in a family, but also, just some good things about him. They did say, he is an energetic dog, which you can see he comes in, pretty hot. He needs a fair amount of exercise, but he is also a dog that likes to, typical of bully breeds, they like to play hard, but then they like to, cuddle up on the couch and relax, and they have, their couch potato side in the evening after they've gotten to get some of those zoomies out. He does have a really good sit, and he also is great at posing for photos. He likes to give you a big old smile. He's very friendly, but he does need to work on a couple of things that are pretty big in terms of, manners. One, not pulling so hard on the leash, which might be resolved with just a couple of training sessions and a harness. And then not jumping on people. He gets really excited and he's so overjoyed to see people that he will oftentimes kind of jump up. But his previous owner did say that he was very gentle and is just a wonderful dog.
So Lightning previously lived with kids that were age range between 3 and 8. However, we have him no small children or a recommendation. Why is that?
So the other day, a family was visiting and they had some smaller children, and Lightning, in his overexuberance, was kind of jumping up on the kids. And I think our staff wrote that out of an abundance of caution. But the previous owner said that Lightning was actually, very gentle with their children. And they didn't have any issues. They didn't distrust him with their children. So it could just be that he hasn't seen kids in a while and he was really excited. He really likes kids. But it's something, as a parent that you'll need to think about with Lightning. Are you worried that he's going to knock over your kids, or is it going to be like, oh, he knocked you over, oops, let's go, like it was an accident, and kind of move on and work on that. But it wasn't, it doesn't seem to be like an aggressive scenario. It's just he doesn't know that he is a 68-pound dog. He thinks he's a little bit of a smaller dog, and he's just a very excited, happy guy. But if you're looking for a very excited and happy guy to complete your family, then Lightning might be a great fit. And you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet with him. Our next guest is kind of in the same line as Lightning, a big guy, a little bit more in the weight department, about 80 pounds. This is Blue, and he has a very handsome coat. He's got the kind of blue brindle and white going on. He's a very good looking dog, but definitely a very big dog. But he is a gentle giant, as we just discovered. He came into the room, onto the set. It's a new place he's never really been before. He saw some big cameras, and he's definitely a little weirded out by that. So being very submissive right now, but definitely a very sweet guy. So taking into consideration that new things might be a little bit nerve-wracking for him. So just, lots of positive reinforcement. Sean's been giving him lots of treats and happy talk and gentle touches. What I found is that in the kennel environment, Blue is a little bit shyer, a little bit nervous, but once you take him outside, he's a completely different guy. He really opens up. He gets the zoomies. He wants to run around and play. He's much more excited outside, which is not uncommon to see. A lot of dogs are nervous in that kennel environment and really open up when they're in a space that's more familiar, like outside. This dog was brought to us by an owner. They said that they were, having some difficulty handling him, and definitely not necessarily having the right amount of time to devote to him. And when you have a large dog, it is really important that you put in that training time so that he is manageable for you. If you can't handle an 80-pound dog and he's not well trained, it's going to be quite challenging. They did fill out a profile for him. So there's information from the previous owner, and they said that Blue also lived in a home with children, and they didn't have any issues with him during his stay in their household with their kids. I think they had kids as a couple of kids 11 and under. So still fairly young kids in that household, same as with Lightning.
So Blue is a very nice dog. However, he has a couple things he could work on. What are those? So
those are things that we see in the shelter all the time, especially with our bigger bully breed type dogs. And that is, number one, pulling on the leash. So starting them on a harness can be super helpful, so that, it gives them a different frame of reference. It's not pulling on their neck. We use a lot of harnesses that have a martingale effect in the back, so when they're pulling, it puts a little more pressure on their rib cage to let them know, hey, this is a little bit uncomfortable, maybe I should loosen up. We also use a lot of front clip harnesses, so when they start to pull, it turns their body, and that's uncomfortable, so they learn, if I don't pull as hard, I can walk in a straight line. But just again, some training will go a long way with that. And also jumping. A lot of dogs are really excited and they want to jump up. And unfortunately, a lot of owners accidentally reward that behavior, which encourages it more. So when the dog's jumping up and people are like, oh, you're so cute, I'm so happy to see you, they're reinforced. And so they want to keep getting that affection from their owner, so they keep doing it. Or they're kind of given a little push off and say, hey, no, off, don't do that. That's also reinforcing. And what people don't know is that actually ignoring the behavior is the best way. Giving them no feedback is a good way to eliminate that behavior. So we work on those things with the dogs and give guidance to our adopters so that they can continue to work on those things with them once they get them home. But if you think that those are not super big issues and you would like to work with them on with Blue, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start that process. Our next dog is Hickory, and he is also in that, young adult dog age range. He's about a year old, and all of the staff are in agreement that he is a good-looking dog. We love his color, we love his eyes. Not super excited about his cropped ears, but that's something that we can't fix now. We, in our adoption contracts, have information stating that we don't want you to cosmetically alter your dogs and cropping their ears, docking their tails just for aesthetic reasons is one of the things that we ask people not to do. But he is a very goofy dog, a very playful dog, but a high energy level. In fact, we know a lot about Hickory because he previously came from another adoption facility, came from Barks in Baltimore. His owner adopted him and only had him for about a month because they were moving. But fortunately for us and for him, he was in a foster home while he was at the Barks facility, and that foster was able to provide a lot of information about how he is in a home that we were able to collect and now pass on to our various adopters that might be inquiring here. First and foremost, his foster parents said that his energy level was a 6 to 7 out of a 10. So he's definitely a dog that has a lot of energy and is going to need a lot of exercise and enrichment. They had other dogs in the home, so he is very dog friendly. They had both another larger dog and a 10-pound senior dog. So they said that he would probably do best in a home with another dog so that he had someone to play with to kind of run off all of that energy with. Did say that he was a bit mouthy. That's something that he needs to be working on, which he's, definitely showing right now and getting a little bit playfully aroused with some affection and things like that. So that's something that somebody's going to need to be committed to training him with. They did also have kids in their home, younger kids, 3 and 6. And while supervised, he did fairly well with those kids. The foster parents said that they didn't necessarily trust him unsupervised with their kids just because of what we're seeing here. He gets a little bit energetic, a little playfully aroused, a little mouthy, jumpy. We don't want to knock over any kids or things like that. But not any serious issues. She said that he was good with his crate, although he didn't love going in it, he would go in it. So there's a lot of information there, and I would highly encourage anybody that's interested in Hickory to go ahead and read through that information because it's going to be super helpful and give you a detailed look on how he does in a home. And as we know, previous behavior in a home is more indicative of behavior in a new home. A shelter environment is very different. So if you can get a glimpse at what they're like in a home, then that's going to be a better idea of what they're going to be like in your home. And while he is a high energy dog, it's not go, go, go all the time. They did also say that he was able to calm down at night and snuggle up with the family on the couch. So if you're looking for that good mix of high energy in the day and able to kind of cuddle at night, then Hickory might be a good fit for you and your family. You can go to visit fcac.as.me to make an appointment to meet him. If you're looking for something a little bit smaller, we do have things in the smaller size, but I wouldn't say small dogs. They're smaller than what you've seen on the show, but not small. Most of our dogs, to be honest, are always going to be 40 pounds or above. That's generally where we live. We have, medium to large to extra large dogs. And Viper weighs in at about 48 pounds, so he is one of the smaller guys on the floor, and he's already a year old. So while he might fill out a little bit more, he's not going to get taller or longer or anything like that. He is one of our terrier mixes, although his vocalizations lead me to believe that maybe there's a little bit of hound or something else in there as well. He's got a beautiful coat, kind of the chocolate tan and white situation going on. Just a really good-looking dog, and he is another dog that is very different in the kennel versus outside of the kennel, which is, he's one of the reasons why we do the kind of speed dating situation where we have you look at our catalogs and meet the animals outside, because he is a little bit shyer and more reserved like Blue when he's in his kennel. But once you get him outside, he comes alive. He's full of energy. He's super excited to greet new people. He wants to play with every dog that he sees, and he initiates play and social interaction with both other dogs as well as humans. So, that's something that people wouldn't see if they were just walking through their kennel. They might just see barking and be like, I'm not going to check that dog out. A lot of people are looking for dogs that are dog friendly, and Viper, again, falls into that category. He thinks everybody is his playmate and wants to hang out with them. But he has been a little bit shy in terms of, getting him to come out of his kennel at some points, a little bit nervous when he's been walking, but fairly easy to walk, just a little bit lagging behind. So just building up his confidence a little bit is going to be important. And social interaction with other dogs might be a great way for Viper, because he is so dog friendly, to build up his confidence. So if you have an existing dog, he might learn that confidence from your pet, and that might be very helpful. Didn't really have any issues with food aggression with him. He likes toys. He wasn't as willing as some dogs to give it up, but he reluctantly says, okay, you can have the toy. So teaching him a trade might be helpful as well.
So you mentioned he gets along with other dogs. How do we think he'd do in a multi-dog household?
Yes, as I mentioned, he's going to do very well because, I had Giblet out, one of our other dogs, the other day, who's also very dog friendly. They saw each other from across the yard and they were pulling to each other. They wanted to play. They were doing play bows and very interested in doing social interaction together. But every dog is different, and some dogs, their personalities just clash. So it is really important to still maintain that meet and greet scenario, making sure that you're bringing your dog in. We'll, walk around, see if they get along. And then not just tossing them together in your home environment, making sure that you're really properly introducing them to each other, keeping them separated if you can when they're not supervised, to make sure everything's going to go well, because those proper introductions are the way to build good relationships moving forward between your animals. As far as cats go, we can't say, but we do know that he would probably do very, very well in a multi-dog household. And if that fits the description of your family, and you want to help him build his confidence, then you could go to visit fcac.as.me to begin that process. After our male-dominated show, we finally have a female dog for you today. This is Quibbles, and she is about 8 to 9 months old at this point. And she came to us as a stray, so we were kind of looking at her and we're like, what does she look like? And we're kind of consulting all of our breed books and seeing what does this dog look like. And since dingo is not the correct answer, she most resembles a Carolina dog, so that's what we put her down as, but that's just, an estimate. We always say everything is a mix. We do the best we can when these animals are coming to us as a stray, and honestly, they can look like a lot of different things, and we have people commenting on our Facebook page all the time, it doesn't look like that to me, it looks like this. It's a judgment call, because we don't know. And we're not going to, there's speculation about the reliability of DNA tests, and we can't afford to do that for all of our dogs. So it's our best guess. But either way, she is a very lovable, very friendly dog, although initially a little bit shy. So she is a dog that's going to take a little bit of time to warm up. But she is very food motivated. Food is an excellent way to make your way into her heart, because she can be nervous and she's still really working on her manners. We do recommend her for families with teenagers and adults only. We don't want young kids to startle her or things like that. We want to make sure that, the people in the home are able to read her body language and understand when she needs a break, when to tell visitors to leave her alone because she feels nervous, things like that. But again, she has a very affectionate side, a very playful side, and we've really been working with her to help her become the best version of herself. She is assigned to someone on our staff who's been working with her during every shift, and Quibbles has been making remarkable progress in terms of where she was when she first got here.
So Quibbles is an interesting name. Where did that come from?
So as I mentioned, she was definitely a little bit shy, a little bit nervous, not super excited to be here when she first got here. When you walk by her kennel, she would kind of bark and grumble at you. So I started calling her Grumbles just because she didn't have a name yet. And, you'd want to talk to them and say stuff. And but Grumbles is obviously not a very flattering name. But it was something that reminded us of her. So then when they processed her, they looked up synonyms for Grumbles, and Quibbles is a synonym for Grumbles. Some of the staff call her Quibby and things like that. We understand that most people aren't going to keep these names, but it's nice to give them different, unique names that stand out amongst all of the Buddies and Fidos and Lunas of the world, so that maybe that name will catch their attention and they'll be more interested in meeting the animal. If that's the case for you and you want to see if you're the family to help Quibbles learn to be confident and just be the best version of herself, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book your appointment. Now, on this episode, we did showcase all of the dogs that are kind of new to our facility because we do have more dogs right now than cats. We have about a full dog floor with about 20 dogs that are available for adoption. We only have about 10 to 15 cats at this point on our adoption floor, but we do have plenty, again, of cats. We still have animals in the small animal room. So if you haven't seen something that looks like it's going to be what you're looking for to add to your family, still, you can book an appointment or go to any of our various websites or social media outlets to see if the right pet for you is available through Frederick County Animal Control. Thanks for watching.